Here is a brutal truth that no one wants to say out loud. Your 20s are not a free trial. Every choice you make counts, even if you pretend it doesn't. But because I want your 20s to count for something significant, I'm going to be brutally honest with you in this video and share with you a few things you must know about life in your 20s. And this is based on my own experience and things I wish I knew. I've posted part 1 of this video earlier, so please do well to check it out. The number 1 truth about life in your 20s. A few weeks ago, I was thinking about certain things I had planned to start earlier on in my life. One of them was starting a YouTube channel. But then I never took any significant steps towards starting a YouTube channel because I just felt like I still had time, and so I just spent all my time overthinking and thinking about what my niche is going to be, what I wanted to talk about online, and if people were going to consider that reasonable. Fast forward to a few years later, I have finally started this YouTube channel. But then I now have to do that alongside having a full-time job, being a mom, being a wife, and other added responsibilities. What am I saying? In your 20s, you have time, but you don't really have time. It's such a paradoxical period of time because on the one hand, you're genuinely young and you have ample time ahead of you. You can make mistakes, bounce back, switch careers, fall in love, fall out of love, pivot to any directions you will, and you will still be fine. Honestly speaking, it is your best time to explore, to experiment, and to take calculated risks. However, the brutal flip side is you actually don't have time. While you're there overthinking and thinking about all the things you want to do and not do and how you want to do them, and when you want to eventually start, and the barriers and all the things you're thinking about in your head, while you're busy and occupied doing that, time is actually going. Like, life is literally happening right in front of you. Let me just tell you something. There is no time to waste precious time getting ready to be ready. All the clarity you're looking for comes from actually doing what you want to do. Every time you spend overthinking what you want to do is you literally handing the microphone to your inner critic, and trust me, they always have something discouraging to say. You're creating bigger rooms for self-doubt, and you're giving yourself reasons not to do the things you want to do. And again, with being in your 20s, you kind of condition yourself that you have many years ahead of you. But then when you look at it, what is really the guarantee that you have that many years ahead of you? We all pray for long life, but nobody really knows how long they'll have to live for. We cannot tell what lies ahead, but one thing is for sure: as you grow older, your responsibilities increase, and it becomes more challenging to incorporate or start certain things. So what am I really saying? You're not too young to start, so stop using your 20s as a holding room for a life you're too afraid to begin. Number 2 truth about life in your 20s. A few days ago, I came across a video of a lady who made a video talking about a few things she will not be spending her money on as someone in her 20s who is trying to be financially responsible. She was basically talking about how she won't be spending her money on alcohol, parties, changing gadgets yearly, and some other things she mentioned. Tell me why I went to the comment section and people were basically lashing out at her about how she needs to spend her money and live her life to the fullest because she's still young and she's still in her 20s. And I'm there thinking, who told you that being young is equal to being financially foolish? As a young person, you need to think about money seriously and safely. Personally, I was privileged that my financial responsibilities when I was in my 20s were taken care of by my parents, and it is a privilege I don't take for granted. However, I think that made me quite complacent when it comes to money. In my mind then, I was only going to think about money seriously when I started earning serious money. One thing I failed to realize was I should have been using that time to lay a good foundation for my relationship with money. You need to pay attention to money seriously enough to be financially literate, but safely enough to be able to detach your self-worth from it. You need to be genuinely curious about how money works, how people make it, how people invest it and make it work for them. Start learning the basics of side hustling, budgeting, savings, investment, not because you want to be a millionaire at 30, but because you want to develop a healthy relationship with money. In case nobody has told you, financial literacy is not a luxury, it is a survival skill. So yes, by all means, learn about money, but don't get too attached to it that it starts to define who you are, or you start to feel less of yourself because you're not able to afford certain things, or you get so worried about making money that it forces you to do something inappropriate or illegal. At this point, if what I'm saying is making sense to you so far, kindly tap on the like button so that the algorithm can show this to more people who need to see this. Let's move on. Number 3 brutal truth that no one will tell you. The general sentiment around you is that you don't know what you're doing, you're unsure about your life, and you don't have enough experience to be competent. And that's why, as a young person, people will not take you seriously, but you have to make them do so. Obviously, you don't have enough life experiences to make certain decisions. However, the problem with this is if you don't show people that you're mature enough and you have capacity to make certain decisions for yourself, this habit will continue even when you're older, where they feel like they always have to tell you what to do, they always have to make decisions for your life. This is more problematic when it comes to important life decisions that should be personal to you. Also, there is this myth that as a young person, you should only focus on working for exposure and you should be overly grateful for when you're given a chance to showcase something that you do. While that is also true in a sense, if you have the opportunity to charge or get paid for certain skills you possess, by all means, take it. Take it from me. I am your scapegoat. I've made that mistake so you don't have to, because I don't understand why it took me a long time to internalize that if you provide certain services, you're not just giving your time, you're giving your energy, your skill, your experience, and you deserve to be compensated for it. Value your time enough to charge for certain services you provide. You're not selfish, you're not greedy, you are only teaching people how to value your time and your service. The fourth brutal truth, you see, it's in your 20s that you naturally start to unpack certain things about your childhood. It's in your 20s you start to learn a lot about yourself, about your upbringing, how your parents' limitations, emotional unavailability, and how their dysfunctions impacted you. It is now you start to connect the dots between how you are and where you're coming from. Now, these are valid insights. However, if at this stage of your life you are still using your past as an excuse for your bad behaviors instead of changing them or starting a healing process, then the problem is not your upbringing, the problem is you. Just because your parents made certain mistakes in the way they raised you does not mean you should remain that way. But then if that is still your justification and validation for behaving in a certain way, then I don't think you're serious about personal growth. Yes, your childhood can provide explanations to certain emotional wounds that you have. It does not give you the entitlement to remain stuck emotionally, and it doesn't in any way absolve you of the responsibility of doing the work towards becoming a better person. Will it be easy? Of course not. But trust me, regardless of your upbringing, if you take full responsibility of your life and start to unlearn certain things instead of just saying, that's how I am, you're sending a positive signal to yourself that your life is worth saving, and your parents' limitations will not stop you from excelling in life. Another brutal truth, as you can already tell, in this phase of your life, you'll be making a lot of life-changing decisions regarding your life, your career, your relationship. But the funny thing about being in your 20s is that you're in that place where you're independent in a way, but you're also not fully independent of your parents. So basically, you have a life that you're responsible for, but some people still have a say over it. But I'll hold your hand while I say this. Regardless of who you're influenced by, you will bear the consequences of your actions or your decisions alone. Your parents will not suffer it with you. Your best friends will not be there to suffer it with you. Your mentors or whoever gave you the advice you followed will not be sharing in the consequences of that decision. Different people will have different opinions about how certain things should go in your life, what you should do, how you should go about it, at what point you should do them. And they will project their insecurities on you, their fears, and this will be based on their own personal experience. Usually, they will tell you this out of love. However, I need you to learn how to draw boundaries. I need you to start practicing how to say no without being disrespectful or rebellious. You don't need to be verbally abusive to your parents to communicate that you don't want to get married to whom they want you to get married to if you don't feel that person is right for you. You don't necessarily have to be assaultive to prove a point. And this still goes back to what I said before, that you need to show that consistently you have been able to make good decisions for yourself. If you keep being passive about your life, people will keep making decisions for you. And when you come to a point where you now feel like you want to make those decisions, you're not confident enough to make them, and people will always feel the need to interfere. But consequently, even though they made those decisions for you, you're ultimately the one who will bear the consequences. Now that you know that you're literally alone in life, you need to surround yourself with people who would give you good counsel, such that you're to an extent sure that when you take their advice, you will end up on the good side of life. As you allow people to give you their good counsel, I need you to have the audacity to challenge the ideas and the opinions people have given you. Whether they are credible people or they are people who love you, they are still human beings at the end of the day. Ultimately, it is God that knows your life. While men direct you, allow God to be the driver of your life. Let me know in the comment section which of these points resonate with you, and also feel free to let me know in the comment section what other brutal truth people need to know about living life in their 20s. If you've not watched the part 1 of this video, do well to check it out. Like this video if you found it valuable, and subscribe to my channel. Let's grow into a better version of ourselves, one video at a time. See you in my next video. Bye.